Hello everyone. I'm Dr. Red, your science evangelist. This BTTS channel is a channel that pushes the fun of science to everyone. I'll be talking about familiar science, the history of science, and stories of great people. I want to make people feel the joy of science, especially those who are not good at science.
And I'm Mike, his friend, whose hobbies include playing guitar and skateboarding. I'm not that good at science, but I don't mind it when he teaches me.
This is the first installment of a memorable story about the miracle of a physicist. So let's get to today's content.
You can accomplish anything.
Mike, do you know Einstein?
Yes, I know him. You're making fun of me. You know, the guy with the splinters and the screws in his ears?
Well, is that intentional? In case you haven't noticed, it's Frankenstein. You've never heard of relativity?
Oh, that's him. The guy in the picture with the tongue sticking out.
Well, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people remember him from that picture. You know, that famous guy, Einstein. He changed the world at a very young age. And all of his achievements were condensed into just a year, or maybe a few months. Then, let's talk specifically about Einstein's miraculous year.
Well, I have a date with Jessie today, so...
Oh, come on, don't be like that. Just listen to me for a minute. The year of Einstein's miracle was 1905. By the way, 2005 was celebrated as the World Year of Physics to honor Einstein's achievements. It's the 100th anniversary of 1905.
Was that right? I was too young to remember.
By the way, there is another year that is called the Year of Miracles. It was 1666. That was the year when Isaac Newton discovered universal gravitation. I'll tell you about that another time.
I didn't ask for it.
Which brings me back to Einstein's accomplishments. This was the year he published 3 of his greatest papers. It is said that if these papers had not been published, the modern world would be a completely different place. It was a world changer. And it only took about 3 months from the first paper to the third paper. It only took about 3 months. In other words, he didn't change the world in a year, he changed the world in 3 months. Isn't that amazing?
More amazing than Bruce Springsteen?
How old is Mike? You say that sometimes, don't you? Of course, it depends on how you feel about it, but in the sense that he continues to have a great impact on the world even after more than 100 years, I think most people would agree that Einstein is more amazing. Now, let's take a look at his 3 specific achievements. The legend started in March of 1905. It was a paper on quantum light theory. I don't think you've heard of the quantum light theory. It's the theory that when light hits a metal surface, electrons pop out. At first glance, it doesn't sound interesting at all.
It's really boring. I mean, when it's like that, it's usually somewhat interesting, right? It's really not even an inch interesting.
That's a bit much, isn't it? But it's true. But this was an amazing discovery that led to the study of quantum mechanics, which is the study of how light is both a wave and a particle. Quantum mechanics is the study of the physics of the extremely small world of atoms, electrons, and subatomic particles. It's a small world of physics, but it's become one of the most important fields of modern physics. It has become a very important field. It's expanding into many other areas, such as the universe and quantum computers. I'll tell you more about quantum mechanics next time.
When I have time.
The next paper was published in May 1905. That's 2 months. What has Mike accomplished in the last 2 months?
I haven't even held hands with Jessie yet.
Oh, I'm so excited. Tell me a little more about that. I haven't accomplished anything. The only thing I've done is sleep 60 times. I'm sure you've heard of this maze paper. It's called the Brownian movement.
What was it? Some kind of randomly moving particles, right?
Yes, that's it. Colloidal particles, you know, like milk or coffee. The particles move randomly. But again, there's nothing interesting in just talking about the surface details. The essential significance of this paper is much greater.
Wow. What do you mean?
It means that this paper proved the existence of atoms and molecules. Doesn't that sound very significant to you? I didn't think it was a big deal because I didn't learn about it when I took the class, but it was actually a big deal.
Atoms and molecules are things like oxygen, hydrogen, and so on, right? It's so obvious that I don't really get it.
That's right. Things that we take for granted now. But in the past, it wasn't. There were people who denied the existence of atoms and molecules. Specifically, a man named Mach wrote a paper in 1883 denying the existence of atoms. Theoretically, it's possible, and it makes a lot of sense, but it was never proven to exist.
Oh, so it was like that until recently?
That's right. Mr. Brown discovered the Brownian motion in 1827. 80 years later, Einstein developed the theoretical framework for it. In 1908, Einstein's theoretical framework was experimentally confirmed by a man named Perrin, and the concept of atoms and molecules became something that no one could doubt. Perrin was awarded the Nobel Prize for this achievement, by the way.
Wow, I didn't know that. Creating the norm is really changing the world, isn't it? But Einstein didn't win the Nobel Prize, did he?
No, that's right. Einstein got it for something else.
The theory of relativity, right?
But that's not it.
Oh, really?
I should have told you earlier, but he won the prize for the photoelectric effect, which I told you about first.
Wow! That's the most amazing thing I've ever heard. I mean, Einstein is the theory of relativity. So you're saying that the first one was also a Nobel Prize-worthy discovery, and the second one, the person who demonstrated it won the Nobel Prize. And then there's the theory of relativity. Einstein, you're a monster.
That's right. Did you feel the awesomeness? Now that we've talked about it, let's talk about the theory of relativity.
Wow! Where the hell are we?
Space, of course. Don't think, feel.
Okay.
I'll keep talking then. There are two theories of relativity, special relativity and general relativity. The one published in 1905 is the special theory of relativity. It was published in June, the month after the paper on Brownian motion was published.
Hell no. I'm so surprised that I'm getting a little tired.
Well, I'm getting tired of talking about how amazing it is too. I won't talk about relativity this time. I'll put up a video about relativity next time.
You've suddenly become a bit random.
The longer the video, the more tired the viewers get. Well, I don't have to tell you how great this is. In March, he laid the foundation of quantum theory. In May, he built a theory to prove the existence of atoms and molecules. In June, he changed the definition of space-time. I think you get the picture of how this year's Einstein was marvelous.
Well, I can't really argue with that anymore. I had no idea he was such an amazing person.
Oh, there were a few things I forgot to mention.
Is there anything more?
Let me add two things. One, he was only 26 years old when he accomplished all of this. The other is that he was not a professional academic at the time. He was working at the Swiss Patent Office. He was an amateur scholar, working at the Swiss Patent Office and submitting papers whenever he could find the time.
Haha, amazing.
Well, I'm tired, aren't I? Let's take a coffee break and relax while looking at colloidal particles.
No. That's not going to calm you down.
In this channel, we will continue to post videos on topics that make science accessible and fun.
If you find today's video interesting or informative, please click the good button and subscribe.
Also, please feel free to comment or question.
See you in about 30 years. Bye.